How is everyone doing today? Today, I'm going to be going over why I think Bitcoin will go to 500,000 within the next 5 to 10 years. Okay. So to start off, I want to show you an article that just came out as I was making this video, and that's that governments are looking to buy Bitcoin. Okay. So it looks like state-owned investment funds are reportedly making inquiries into buying Bitcoin. So this would be huge. So it's like every day we have new news about some government or some company or hedge fund looking to invest into Bitcoin. So every day it just gets better and better. I invested $4,200 into Bitcoin at an average cost of 38,000. Okay. And so the other piece of news I wanted to talk about today was the fact that Tesla just said recently that you can now buy their cars with Bitcoin. So if we go to their website, you can see right here, there's a Bitcoin option down at the bottom. So that's super cool. Okay. Another awesome milestone for Bitcoin going forward. Then let's take a look at some companies that have invested into Bitcoin. And the first one is going to be, if this would work, the first one is going to be Bitcoin, okay? Or not Bitcoin, the first one is Tesla. The Tesla has $1.5 billion invested into Bitcoin, okay? And this is huge right now because Tesla is one of the biggest companies in the world. And so a lot of companies are going to follow going forward. The next one is MicroStrategy, and they were one of the first ones to come out and say they were doing this. They have over $2 billion invested. And then the third one is Square, and they have 220 million. Okay, and so this is one of the main reasons I'm so bullish on Bitcoin is because if all these companies are putting billions of dollars in there, then it makes me feel a lot more confident investing my money, okay? And that's another thing that sets Bitcoin apart from where Bitcoin was a couple of years ago. So Bitcoin spiked back in the day, and a lot of people say, "Oh, it's just it's gonna crash again like it did in 2017." But the difference was back then it was mostly just because of hype. It wasn't because of real investors and real companies investing into Bitcoin. So that's why it's so much different this time around. Now we also see companies like Fidelity and Goldman Sachs making ETFs for their customers to invest into Bitcoin. And so it's becoming much more mainstream, and that's what the biggest difference is here, okay? So the other thing is throughout 2020, we saw the Fed print out trillions of dollars, okay, into the US economy. And so that created worries for inflation. And so that's another reason why Bitcoin was so successful throughout 2020 is because investors are looking for alternative places to store their money. And Bitcoin is a perfect place to do that because Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. It's a decentralized network that governments can't control, okay? And so that's what makes it so powerful. A lot of people have compared it to, they think it's going to be a gold 2.0, like the digital gold, okay? And so if we look at it in that perspective, we can see here that Bitcoin's market cap is a little bit under $1 trillion, okay? And that's ginormous. But compared to gold, that's only a tenth because gold is a little bit over $10 trillion. And so if Bitcoin was to become a gold 2.0, a digital gold, then its price would 10x just off of that, and it would be over 500,000 if it took the place of gold, okay? And so that's why there's people out there that say that, there's price targets for Bitcoin of like 1 million because this being one of the reasons. Then the other thing, if we compare gold to Bitcoin, we can see that gold is safer, okay? Gold is less volatile, it's less risky, but it's also, you're gonna get less returns with the gold, okay? And I think, I'm not against gold, I just think Bitcoin is better, okay? And how I said, Bitcoin is not controlled by any governments, and Bitcoin is, how it says here, it's easier to send and receive. Gold is harder to send and receive, and gold also has to be authenticated. Bitcoin doesn't. Bitcoin is very transparent, and it just seems like the more sensible option here. Now, the last thing I want to show you is from ARK Invest. They have a big ideas PowerPoint they put together for 2021, and the first slide here shows us the holders of Bitcoin throughout the last 10 years, okay? And so what this shows is that the short-term holders of Bitcoin are becoming a smaller percentage of the holders because like this black part at the top here, this is for over 5 years of holding. And as you can see, from 2014 to now, it's become a much larger percentage of Bitcoin supply. Okay. And so the holders that are short term, like the 1 day to all the way, let's say, to 1 year, that's becoming a smaller percentage. Okay. And that's another reason why it's a lot different this time around. Now, here's another awesome thing I'm looking forward to. So as we see here, it says Square and MicroStrategy, both with balance sheet investments in Bitcoin, are showing the way for public companies to deploy Bitcoin as a legitimate alternative to cash, how I was saying. So if all the S&P 500 companies were to allocate 1% of their cash into Bitcoin, Bitcoin's price would increase by 40,000. Now, I think it's likely that the S&P 500 companies will at some point have 10% of their cash into Bitcoin, and that would raise Bitcoin by 400,000. So, I mean, there's just so many bullish points going forward that I really do think Bitcoin is going to be over 500,000 within the next 5 to 10 years. Let me know what you think.